My ex-fiancée gatecrashed my wedding shrieking, "You can't marry her, I'm pregnant with your baby." I calmly asked for a DNA test. In front of everyone, the doctor revealed her bump was just a pillow. Her humiliation as security dragged her out. Sarah and I were together for 3 years. We were engaged for the last 6 months of it. The whole thing was a mistake, and I should have seen the signs. She was the center of her own universe, and I was just living in it. Everything was a drama. If I was 5 minutes late, it was a betrayal. If I forgot to like her Instagram post, it was a personal insult. The breaking point was when I surprised her with tickets to a concert for her birthday. She didn't thank me. She got mad because the seats weren't front row. She said if I really loved her, I would have splurged. I looked at her, sitting there pouting in a restaurant I couldn't afford, and something just clicked. I took the tickets back, told her the engagement was off, and left. I sold the tickets online and used the money to buy a new TV. It was a great TV. That was 8 months ago. I blocked her on everything and moved on. I met Jessica. Jess was the complete opposite. She was calm, she was funny, and she thought my love for old action movies was charming, not childish. When I proposed 6 months later, it was quiet, just us on a hiking trail. She said yes. We planned a small wedding, about 80 people. My one rule was no drama. I wanted it simple and happy. The day of the wedding, everything was perfect. Jess looked amazing. I was standing at the altar, my best man Leo next to me, and we were just about to do the vows. Then the doors at the back of the garden burst open. There was Sarah. She was wearing a white dress, which was a choice, and she had one hand dramatically placed on a very obvious, very round baby bump. The entire wedding turned to look. You could hear a pin drop. "Jake," she wailed, stumbling down the aisle. "You can't marry her. You can't. I'm carrying your child, our baby." My first thought wasn't panic. It was pure, simple math. I hadn't seen or touched this woman in over 8 months. Even if our last night together had been miraculously productive, she'd be waddling, not posing. Jess squeezed my hand. She didn't look scared. She looked pissed. "Handle this," she whispered, her voice low and steady. Sarah reached us, tears streaming down her face. "Our family, Jake? Think about our family." The pastor looked horrified. Leo looked like he was trying not to laugh. I just felt a strange sense of calm. "Sarah," I said, my voice clear and caring in the quiet garden, "you're saying you're pregnant with my baby?" "Yes. How could you abandon us?" she sobbed. "Okay," I said, nodding slowly. "I believe in science, so let's get a DNA test, right now." The crowd gasped. Sarah's face went blank for a second. "The what, now?" "Sure," I said. "My friend David is a doctor. He's sitting right over there." I pointed to my buddy Dave, who was already standing up, a grimly professional look on his face. We'd played poker together for years, and I'd once seen him stitch up his own thumb after a knife mishap. The man was unflappable. Dave walked up, pulling a small portable Doppler out of his jacket pocket. "I always come prepared," he muttered to me with a wink. He turned to Sarah. "Ma'am, a simple Doppler can usually detect a fetal heartbeat after 10 weeks. If you're, as you say, heavily pregnant, this should be conclusive." Sarah's eyes darted around like a trapped animal. "You can't touch me. This is my body." "It's a non-invasive procedure," Dave said calmly. "Or we can just do an ultrasound. I've got a clinic 5 minutes away. We can all go." The all part did it. I saw the sheer terror in her eyes at the thought of an audience for her exposure. "No, this is humiliation," she cried, clutching her stomach. "It's only humiliation if you're lying," Jess spoke up, her voice ice cold. "If you're telling the truth, this will prove it." "So which is it?" Sarah stood there, trembling. The performance was falling apart. She looked at the faces of my family, her old friends, everyone she'd tried to manipulate. They were all watching, waiting. "Fine," she screamed, and in one furious motion, she hiked up her ridiculous white dress and yanked a small decorative couch pillow out from under it. She threw it on the ground at my feet. "There? Happy? You ruined everything, you jerk." The silence was broken by a single snort of laughter from Leo. Then the entire wedding erupted. Not in anger, but in pure, unfiltered disbelief and laughter. I looked at the pillow on the grass. It had little embroidered flowers on it. I picked up the pillow and handed it to her. "I think you dropped this." That's when security, 2 very large guys I'd hired just in case of any unexpected guests, gently but firmly took her by the arms. You can't do this. I loved you." She shrieked as they led her away, still clutching the pillow. The pastor cleared his throat. "Well, shall we continue with the vows?" We did. I married Jess 5 minutes later. It was the most memorable wedding anyone there had ever been to, and the reception was absolutely legendary. You'd think pulling a stunt like that would make someone hide in shame forever. Not Sarah. The woman had the shame threshold of a reality TV star. Our wedding reception was amazing. The story of what happened became instant legend, and the party energy was through the roof. But while we were cutting the cake, Sarah was already plotting her next move. The first sign came the next morning. Jess and I were enjoying a lazy breakfast in our hotel suite when my phone started blowing up. Sarah had gone nuclear on social media. She'd posted a tearful, filtered selfie with a long caption about how I'd humiliated and abandoned her in her time of need, and how my new wife was a homewrecker. She was careful not to mention the fake pregnancy directly, just vague claims about broken promises and a love triangle no one knew about. The comments were a mess. Her friends were rallying, calling me a monster. A few people who'd been at the wedding tried to set the record straight, but they were getting drowned out. My buddy Leo texted me, "Dude, she's trying to rewrite history. You need to post the video." Ah, the video. See, my cousin Billy was on camera duty. He'd been filming the whole ceremony. He got the entire scene in perfect, high-definition glory. Sarah's dramatic entrance, my calm request for a test, Dave the doctor stepping up, and the grand finale with the floral print pillow. I'd told him to keep it, just in case. I didn't post it, not yet. Posting it felt reactive, like I was playing her game. Instead, I just commented on her post. One sentence. "The pillow you left behind has a stain. You want it back?" It was a small thing, but it worked. People who knew what happened at the wedding understood the reference and started laughing in the comments. People who didn't were confused, asking, "What pillow?" Sarah deleted the entire post within an hour. First escalation, first win. But I knew it wasn't over. A week after we got back from our honeymoon, the real escalation hit. I got a letter from a lawyer. Sarah was suing me for emotional distress and defamation, claiming my public accusation of faking a pregnancy had caused her mental anguish. She was asking for $50,000. I showed it to Jess. She read it and started laughing. "She's suing you for defamation because you exposed her lie? That's a new one." I wasn't laughing. It was a nuisance lawsuit designed to scare me into paying her off. But I don't scare that easy. I called a lawyer, a guy named Mr. Reed, who my dad recommended. I told him the whole story, and he started chuckling. "This is the easiest case I'll have all year," he said. "She has no standing. But we're not just going to defend. We're going to counter-sue for malicious prosecution and the cost of my fees. We'll make her regret this." I authorized it. The game was getting expensive for her. While the legal wheels started turning, Sarah tried a different angle. She started calling my parents. My mom told me she'd called, sobbing, saying I'd turned everyone against her and she just wanted to make amends. My mom, who is a saint, listened patiently and then said, "Sarah, I was there. I saw the pillow. Please don't call this number again." Click. Then she started calling my work, asking for me, and telling the receptionist it was an urgent personal matter. My boss, a no-nonsense guy named Frank, pulled me aside. "Jake, you got a stalker? Handle it. It's getting weird." I had to handle it. So I did the one thing I knew would really get under her skin. I lived my life. Jess and I started posting happy, normal photos. Us painting a room in our house, us trying a new recipe, us with the stupid new TV I'd bought after our breakup. No captions about the drama, just us being happy. It was the perfect, silent revenge. It drove her insane. Her social media became a spiral of increasingly unhinged, vague posts. "When you see people living a lie, karma is real, watch this space." She was screaming into a void, and we were just living. The contrast was noticeable. People started unfollowing her. The sympathy was drying up. The final straw came about 2 months after the wedding. I got a call from the local community theater group. I'd done some set building for them years ago. The director, Martha, sounded embarrassed. "Jake, I'm so sorry to bother you. Sarah has been calling us, demanding we remove your name from our donor wall. She's telling people you're, well, a lot of awful things. She said if we didn't, she'd protest our next show." That was it. She was now trying to sabotage my reputation in my own community. She'd moved from online nonsense to real-world harassment. It was time to end this. I thanked Martha and told her I'd handle it. Then I called Mr. Reed. "Let's speed things up," I said. I also finally gave my cousin Billy the go-ahead, not to post the video publicly, but to send a link to the private, unlisted video to a very specific list of people. Sarah's parents, her boss, the lawyer who filed the frivolous lawsuit, and the board members of the community theater. The video was raw, unedited, and devastating. It showed everything, from her scream to the pillow pull to her being escorted out. There was no commentary, no text, just the truth. The silence was immediate. Her lawyer called Mr. Reed within hours to drop the lawsuit. Her mother called my mother, apologizing profusely. The theater board sent a lovely email saying my name would stay right where it was. Sarah had been exposed completely and utterly to the very people whose opinions she valued most. The curtain had been pulled back, and the great and powerful Oz was just a girl with a pillow. It was over. You'd think getting caught in a lie that spectacular would make a person retreat from society. Maybe join a monastery. Not Sarah. When her nuclear options fizzled, she just started firing smaller, messier shots. The first was a series of late-night texts from a new number. "You ruined my life." Then an hour later, "I hope you're happy." Followed by, "At 3 a.m., she's going to leave you just like I did. You're unlovable." I didn't respond. I showed them to Jess, who rolled her eyes. "She's like a mosquito that won't stop buzzing," she said. We blocked the number. The next shot was more creative. She started leaving negative reviews on my company's Google page. 1-star anonymous reviews claiming I was unprofessional and had personal issues that affected his work. My boss, Frank, just laughed. "Jake, I've known you for 10 years. I was at your wedding. I saw the pillow. Let her waste her time." He reported the reviews as fraudulent and Google removed them within a day. But the harassment was escalating, and it was time to make it stop for good. Mr. Reed, my lawyer, advised a two-pronged approach. "We have the countersuit for the frivolous lawsuit ready to go, but for the harassment, you need a paper trail. Every text, every call, every review, document it. Then we get a personal protection order." So I started a file. It wasn't exciting, but it was effective. I logged every attempt at contact. I screenshot the texts before I blocked the numbers. I saved the deleted reviews. It was boring, methodical work. Meanwhile, the consequences of the video were rolling through Sarah's life. I heard from a mutual acquaintance that she'd been let go from her job at a high-end boutique. Apparently, the manager didn't think a woman who staged a fake pregnancy at a wedding was the right brand ambassador. That was consequence number 1. Consequence number 2 was social. Her friend group, the ones who'd initially defended her, completely evaporated. Seeing the raw, unedited video was the final straw for them. They couldn't explain it away. She was left with just her mom, who, according to my mom, was profoundly disappointed and had forced Sarah to start seeing a therapist. This seemed to push her over the edge. She showed up at my gym on a Tuesday morning. I was on the treadmill when I saw her marching toward me, her face set in a scowl. She didn't get far. "Jake, we need to talk right now," she demanded. Stepping in front of the machine, I hit the stop button, breathing heavily. "No, we don't, Sarah. You need to leave. This is all a misunderstanding. You need to tell everyone that. Tell your lawyer to drop the countersuit." I just stared at her. "The only misunderstanding was you thinking a pillow could pass for a 7-month pregnancy. Now leave, or I'll call the manager." A gym staff member was already on his way over. "Is there a problem here, Jake?" "Yes," I said, not taking my eyes off her. "This woman is harassing me. She is not a member and needs to be escorted out." That was it. That was the final documented incident I needed. As the staff member firmly asked her to leave, I pulled out my phone and typed up the notes. October 12th, 10:15 a.m. Confronted me at FitLife Gym, demanded I retract statements, had to be removed by staff. I sent the entire log to Mr. Reed. A week later, we were in front of a judge for a hearing on the personal protection order. Sarah showed up with a public defender. She looked small and washed out. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, listened as Mr. Reed presented the evidence. The log of harassment, the fake reviews, the gym incident. Then he played the wedding video. The judge watched it, her expression unchanging. When it finished, she looked at Sarah's lawyer. Your client staged a disruptive public spectacle, then engaged in a campaign of harassment against the victim for refusing to engage with her false narrative. Do you have any compelling reason why I should not grant this PPO? The public defender barely mumbled a response. The judge granted the PPO for a period of 1 year. Any contact would be a criminal offense. Then the judge looked at Sarah. As for the countersuit for malicious prosecution, she said, I suggest you settle it, quickly, before I'm inclined to award legal fees. We walked out of the courtroom. Sarah scurried away without looking at me. A few weeks later, through her lawyer, she agreed to drop all claims and pay a symbolic $1 to settle our countersuit. It wasn't about the money, it was the principle. She had lost, completely and on the record. The final update came from my mom, who'd heard it from Sarah's mom. Sarah had moved to a city a few hours away. She was working some anonymous office job and still seeing her therapist. The drama was gone from her life because she had no one left to perform for. As for me, life is quiet. Jess and I are happy. We still have that TV. Sometimes, when we're watching a movie, one of us will joke about needing a pillow for comfort. We'll laugh. The whole thing feels like a weird, distant story that happened to someone else. I drew a line, and when she crossed it, I didn't just get mad. I got even. And then I moved on.